Welcome back, y'all. It is Brian and Mo with the Coach's Corner podcast. This is episode 2, so thanks for tuning in. On this week's episode, I think Mo and I are going to discuss preseason prep. Because right now we're running our preseason, our training to get kids ready for tryouts. And there's other prep work that you can be doing with your kid at home to get them ready for the season. Am I right, Coach Mo?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's what we're going to discuss. Thanks for tuning in. We'll get to you guys after the intro. Peace. Live from Coach Mo Athletic Studios. Our makeshift studio right now. This is Brian and Mo with the Coach Mo Coach's Corner podcast. Big things popping. This week we are launching tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, today's September 10th. So tomorrow we're going to be having our first real tryout prep training. It's a program we rolled out last year and we had good success with it. And since we're doing that, we're in the mood for it, I think we need to discuss some things that you guys can do to start preparing your player for the season. And this cuts across all sports, right?
Right, oh yeah.
Doing the prep work, and it starts with the parents first. A lot of the prep work starts with mindset and making sure that everything lines up. And so we're going to talk about some things that you guys can do to make sure that you're ready for the season. Right?
Oh yeah.
One thing, I think it's an important milestone for us. We did get our first troll. Shout out to you, my friends. Shout out to you.
That's awesome.
To be so focused on what we're doing is really it makes us happy that somebody's paying attention.
Oh yeah.
And to take time out of your day to troll our page, man, that means we touched something.
You know, and it's funny because I don't know if you the person that they listen to the podcast or not, they follow us or not. I doubt it. They probably woke up thought it'd be feeling good and they thought they'd have a good response from it, and then they realized it was crickets and no one had a response from it. Thanks for giving us attention.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And if you didn't listen, thank you.
So here's the last thing I'll say. Dog, we're never going to say your name on this show. And so you could spend the rest of your days running around telling your friends that you're the person that trolled us. You're our first troll. That's your badge of honor.
That was awesome. I didn't lose any sleep.
Yeah.
Especially when you see it's like, you're a person that's never worked with us. I don't know who you are, but
homie, we ain't gonna make you famous. You can make yourself famous,
right.
But you're making yourself famous for being a troll. So there's your gold star. Congratulations.
Woo-hoo! Proud of you. Proud of you.
All right, on to the meat of the matter. So season's coming up.
Yep.
And you know, one of the things that we see, and I've touched on this before in other podcasts I've talked about, but one thing that we realize is we're both of our backgrounds are in childcare, and one of the things we know for a fact is as much as children fight against structure, they ask for it, they demand it, and you start seeing a lot of weird behaviors when you don't have some kind of structure. And so we really wanted to get into some of the things that a parent can do to help prepare their kid for the season. If you have a serious athlete in your house, and I'm saying serious whether they're playing recreational, because you could be a serious rec player. Mm-hmm. You still want to dominate. Or you can have a serious competitive track athlete. Or ones that, we're talking about kids that are they're on traveling teams and whatnot. We've worked with all of them. What can a parent do? What are some of the things that a parent needs to do to start getting their kid ready for the season, Coach Mo?
Well, and like you said, this is for every sport. So, there's a season for every sport. There's football. There's prepare for football. Prepare for baseball. Prepare for basketball. Right now, let's just say we're going to prepare for basketball because typically you look about they're starting to do work at schools and things like that before and after school. So October is pretty much a kickoff with tryouts and things like that for every school. Generally, as a parent, one of the things you can do is start talking to your kid. Start seeing honestly to see if the kid wants to play this year. play this year. You can eliminate a lot of stuff by having a conversation with your kid, and then just because they played last year doesn't mean this year they want to play. Maybe they want to try a different sport. Maybe they don't want to play. If the kid does want to play, start taking the steps towards it. One thing I'd say as a parent is kind of look at look at the level they want to play at. If the kid wants to be select team, you probably already had a tryout, or you're going to be on those trials. And with that, and we talked about it a little bit last week, is if they do get on these select teams, there are going to be a list of things that they need. Let it be preparing with bringing basketball to practice, certain shoes. There might be a certain jersey. There's times, getting the schedule right. And so it's going to be a pretty demanding schedule. And also the parent think about it to yourself. Like, do I want to, am I committed to that schedule as well? Like I said, this is no problem. I mean, if you're like, a kid wants to play 1 day a week, good, right? But with the select sports, what we've noticed, I mean, it's not a 1 day thing. And so the conversation has to be with you and the kid. Like, if we're going to sacrifice our time, this needs to be something you do, and it's going to be something that me and whoever the guardian needs to do, because they're going to be doing the transportation. So we had to decide there.
Yep, and that's we did talk about it last week. Is checking in with your kid to make sure. We talked about it in the context with you working with Ami, and checking in to see what he wants to do and where his level of engagement is. And we're talking about commitment. We're talking about making the commitment in your mind that we may have to trim back on some social events. Now I'm not saying you're gonna skip your kid's birthday. Their birthday happens on one of those days. You plan to have a party on a day that may not interfere with, what they need to do for the team or whatnot, or plan to have something afterwards or whatever. But we're saying checking in, going to cousin such and such's birthday party if it's on the same day, that may or may not be the most important thing, depending on what level your kid's playing at. And so this is kind of what we're talking about for the young athlete, is having those honest conversations and sitting down once you are aware of what the season's going to be, sitting down and getting a calendar and just marking out those days and letting them know that that's kind of what the priority is over the next couple of months.
Right.
Now, we know that we have experience with kids that check out midway through a season, and this is where you do some of that pre-teaching and explain to them, like, if you're going to do this, there's a commitment attached to it.
Right.
You have to see the season out, and then we'll check in at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you're not even referring to a first grader. We're talking about, older kids. Kids that have been playing a while, and sometimes they do check out, and that's just having that conversation beforehand is going to be crucial, because there's a commitment piece to it for the team. You have a responsibility to be part of that team. No matter what team you are, if you're the A, B, C team, the gold, silver, whatever team, you have a commitment to that team. Plus, you have a commitment to, your time, And so, if you already talked about this beforehand, and the kid wants to go kind of, like, I don't want to do this, you can go, at least we had that conversation before, and remind them that we talked about this already.
That's true. Yeah. The other thing is, I'm thinking, and then we're going to take a quick pause, but I'm thinking that if you sit down and speak with the kid, the next piece we're going to get into is talking about structuring your home life to kind of make sure that it aligns with this kid competing, right?
Right.
And then the next thing is checking in with the coach.
Right.
Because the coach is the one that's going to be coordinating a lot of this stuff. And there's going to be some teaching that you're going to want to do with your player regarding listening to coach.
Right.
So we're going to take a brief pause for the cause, and then we're going to come back and hit on those topics.
Cool.
All right. Hey y'all, it's Brian and Coach Mo. During this intermission, we'd like to tell you a little bit about our Total Athlete Training program. Total Athlete Training is this. A while ago when Coach Mo started working with athletes, we realized that a lot of the skills that athletes have carry from one sport to the other. The core explosiveness and hand-eye coordination and agility and speed work translates across all sports, and so you can have good outcomes across all sports. Some of our top players are multi-sport athletes, and it's because the skills translate from one thing to another, and that's where the Total Athlete Training program kind of comes from. We view that a rising tide raises all ships, and if we're able to give you a good foundation of speed and agility work, the athlete in question is going to be able to excel in a lot of other things. Coach Mo is the only certified speed and agility trainer in area. And so I'll turn it over to Coach Mo, and he can kind of tell you a little bit more about Total Athlete Training.
I love the Total Athlete Training part of it. Yeah, speed and agility is my thing. And I pride myself in it, and it's personal to us, so that's why we kind of built the program. I saw holes in kids' games, holes even mine when I was growing up, that, man, I wish I had someone to tell me what I was doing wrong, and just simple adjustments can change a whole world. We've been in groups that we talked about where you adding an inch of vertical to yourself can change something for a kid between getting a scholarship or not. Total Athlete Training is where we go. We work on our vertical, we work on balance, we work on speed, how to run, our how to put our hands, how to replace our feet, and we really get after it. One thing that's offered several times a week, so you can find the time to get in there and do it. And this is offered from anywhere from elementary kids up until to college, and we even have athletes that come back as adults because they like what they see from that. One thing good about it is that we adjust the training to what the sport that the kid is going for, also to their level, and so it's nothing that it's going to be where you have 50 kids in one setting doing the same thing. You might have 10, and 5 are doing baseball and 5 are doing basketball this time, and we have that work specifically for them.
Yep, and the link is in the show notes. We do offer an online option, and it looks a little bit different, but you get a lot of the speed and agility work that Coach Mo applies with the face-to-face athletes that you can do at your own home, at your own pace. And so we're really proud of the program. I think the proof's kind of in the fact that we have collegiate athletes returning to get that work, get those extra reps in with Coach Mo during their break. And so this program we're very proud about, and it's kind of one of our signature programs along with our basketball academy program. And we don't think anybody else around here is offering what we have to offer. So Coach Mo's Total Athlete Program is for all athletes, not just basketball, not just football, not just soccer, all athletes. And we've had anywhere from football to volleyball to soccer to basketball, baseball. We've had all of those kind of athletes participate. So it's a program we're proud about. Links in the show notes. If you're interested, shoot us email at coachmoathletics@gmail.com. That's coachmoathletics@gmail.com. Thanks. Back to the show. Peace. Okay, we're back. So we're going to talk about kind of preparing your environment, your home life, for basketball season.
Right.
And not even just basketball season, whatever sport, even if it's soccer or baseball or football, preparing your home environment for a young athlete to have success.
Right.
And I know my thing is, one of the things I'm going to focus on, one of the things that we've seen with players is, plan your off time too.
Yep.
Plan the time for your athlete, your young athlete, to rest and recuperate. So I know, especially during basketball season, there's a natural break for a lot of league play and stuff. There's going to be a natural break kind of built in around holiday times. Make sure that you are maximizing that leisure time, let your athlete kind of rest.
Right.
We've seen a lot of parents that push all the way through the break time. The kid never gets a chance to rest. And then we start seeing those weird stress injuries and things like that. And so the recuperation time is important, and it allows the kid to kind of recharge their battery too.
Right.
What do you see with that, Coach?
Yeah, and we're in a different time of basketball. I think when we were coming up, you're playing, a rec league, you're playing the Y, you got your 6 games for the fall session, your 6 games for your spring session, and you might do a playoff. So that was kind of even with middle school basketball, you're like, I think you play like 9 games, possibly 10 with a playoff. That's it. Well, now we're in the era where, man, you could be on a weekend doing a tournament, you have 5 games a weekend. And so now there's so many tournaments that are offered, your kid may be playing 30, 40 games on, a month, rather than a year. And so what that entails, you're talking about the stress on the body. I know, last year when Ami hurt his MCL before the season, he's a different player. I had to give him breaks because his mind wanted to jump right back in and do tournament after tournament to help the team, which is a great, commendable thing, but his body needed the rest. And when we talk about body resting is, you're going to get wear and tear from hitting the ground. You get wear and tear from jumping. You get wear and tear from running. And you just need a mental break sometime. Like we talked about it last week on episode 1, is let them be kids. Let them be kids. You don't have to schedule something every weekend and you said that their birthday is that weekend. Let them have a party. Let them have a party. If they want to go play, video game for about 3-4 hours and everything's done and you've played 4 tournaments in a row, give them a tournament off. Give them a tournament off. 2 things with that, Brian. One thing is that kid eventually could get burnt out. And once that kid gets burnt out, and they can be good players. And I got to clarify that because parents a lot of time will say, well, if they take a break, they may slack a little bit. Here's the problem. At the select level of basketball, taking a week off, and if the kid loses that much from taking a week off, I got to question what level the kid's at. A week off shouldn't change a whole lot.
Engaged player isn't going to just take a week off and decide that they want to just stop.
Right.
Because now we're talking about motivation. We're talking about whether this athlete's actually motivated to play at this level. And we've discussed it last week. If the kid's not motivated to play at that level, you're not going to make them want to play it.
No, it's a different conversation with that kid. So that's not, that week off is not going to change anything that the kid does. What it actually may do is make that kid a little more effective on the court, increase that focus a little bit. As adults, Ryan, we can both attest to this having kids. In your mind, you want to get all the sleep in the world at night, and get what they tell you, get a perfect amount of sleep and get up and do this and eat breakfast, do your lunch, and you want to be perfect, but we don't. So we're tired sometimes as adults, and so if we don't take that time off, it does affect the way we focus sometimes in our daily lives. And so you have a kid who is let's go for a high IQ position like a point guard, who's mentally tired, physically tired, every week, doesn't get a break. Now you're missing passes. Now you're missing shots that you should be making. And now you're missing just things that you should be doing on the court because you're just not rested. You're not rested.
Well, that's a good point. Because last night we're sitting there. I was watching the Raptors game, Raptors and Celtics game, and you started to notice. And I was kind of on a delay because I was working.
Right.
But started to notice that the announcers were mentioning they're tired.
Yeah.
They're wiped out. And as soon as it was visible for Toronto, they won last night.
Yeah.
They managed to get to Game 7. But even such, you started seeing weird things like Van Fleet. I believe it was Van Fleet.
Yeah.
Got a weird backcourt violation. Mentally, physically, and mentally tired.
Yep.
That's when those mistakes start coming in, and it could have cost them the game. It did not.
Right.
But that's what we're talking about, the mental fatigue for a player that is going to be that's pivotal to that team's success. You want them to be as well rested as possible, so that when they get in those game situations,
right,
it could be worse. Is what we're saying. He could have he could have done something worse.
Right.
Fortunately, it wasn't anything that cost him the game. But mentally, they want to have those. You want to have those reserves of energy to dive into.
Yeah, we've even seen at the local level in high school, where you have teams that only run. Won't name drop. I mean, it's obvious. But teams only run 7 kids. At a varsity level, and which to me, we can go into that another day when we get a couple of guests on here, a couple of my local coach buddies. We talk all the time on the phone and in person, but those kids are tired, and when you get to big games where you're exerting your body so much, we gotta watch this as parents too, and as coaches. These kids are not just athletes, so that they're going to school all day. So we gotta remember that. That's mentally draining to go to school because you're focused on another thing. You're focusing on math, social studies, all this. So then you're asking that kid to do their homework, which is another mental strain on it, and then run to go to practice for 2 hours, and then get up maybe in the morning and do another practice or do some film. It's a busy thing for them, and so now they're playing 30-something games in a month, and those mistakes start coming out because there's a lot going on. You have to give those breaks, and I'm aware of that as a coach because you can see it. And so I know what I do for like our CMA Academy teams. If 10 are ready to play, and they're engaged, 10 can play. Cause we can sub 5. I feel my first 5 and my second 5 should have not a big drop off or at all, because they all should be ready to go. So that fatigue that came in, maybe my point guard played a few more minutes this game than everybody else because we made it one ball handler or something like that too. I'm going to notice that and be able to sub those other people. But a lot of times we get into the coaching world, and I won't, and we've all done it. We're like, oh, they're young, they're 10, they're 11, they'll keep going. They need that break. They're going to need that break,
And so this is where we're talking about the parent sometimes is going to have to assert themselves.
Yep.
And step in and be the parent and say, okay, it's bedtime. This is what time it is to go. This is what time you go to sleep. This is when screen time ends.
Right.
We shut off the screens. We shut off cell phones. We shut off televisions. You put on something that kind of relaxes you.
Right.
And then it's time to go to sleep. Because we've seen it where, left to their own devices, a young player, a lot of times they'll sit up all night and they'll get on a good game of Fortnite or Warzone or whatever you're playing.
Right.
And they'll be up till 6 in the morning playing the game and then mess around and have an 11 o'clock game.
Right.
And now this kid's running off of sleep deprivation. They got 4 hours of sleep because they need an hour to get dressed and get ready.
Right.
Maybe even 3 hours sleep because maybe the place they got to go to
is out of the way. Right.
And so now you're dealing with your star player with 3 hours of sleep.
Right.
And now you're expecting them to be able to carry the burden.
Right. That's a huge thing with preparation, and I think that's something you said at the beginning of the season. That's that conversation you had while you're having that conversation, is that, like, sleep needs to change. Going to bed time needs to change. Video games need to change, And even going back to that is the kids that are coming back, I think we talked about this before, just years past, but we talk about it all the time. The kids are coming back into the season, especially, let's say, you're 8th, 7th grade. You've played this sport before. Uh-huh. So now it's a new season. Now, let's take it further. What could I do now preparing the season better than I did last season? So if I was a kid that was coming to games tired, that's where my checklist, or something with the parent, my checklist is, okay, I need to go to bed earlier. Mm-hmm. If I was the last one down the court running each time, maybe I should start running. Maybe I should start working on my speed right now, Yep. If I was the last one that I couldn't jump super high, okay, maybe I should start. This is where the feedback comes in for the parents and coaches, where parents, we can't shy away from the feedback. We gotta keep it real. We can't shy away. It's okay for the coach to give your kid feedback. If it's, positive or negative, it's okay.
Now, you're touching on a great point. That's going to be our next segment. That's our next segment. I do want to circle back to this because I feel like this point needs to be emphasized.
Right.
I read an article a couple of years ago. It had to be on ESPN.com, but it was sourced from somewhere else. They talked about one of the biggest crises in the NBA. One of the single biggest crises in the NBA is you have guys that are basically running ultra marathoners kind of schedule.
Right.
The biggest crisis they saw in the NBA was sleep deprivation. Mm-hmm. Players were not getting enough sleep, and some of those players are young guys, are young in the party scene, and they're out there. Other players have years of wear and tear and cumulative stress and have a difficult time. There's a reason why the NBA is dumping millions of dollars into sleep studies and research and getting experts aboard to master ways for their players to get restorative sleep.
Right.
That is huge.
Right.
And if the NBA is doing it, if they're seeing it as a crisis, that means that it's cutting into their bottom line. Mm-hmm. It's influencing the on-court product.
Right.
And they're going to spend money to make sure that their investment with the players, they're getting the most out of it. So the teams that have been on the cutting edge with the idea of resting, and I know there's a lot of joking about, we joke about it too.
Right.
About load management and all that other stuff. There's a lot of joking.
Right.
But understand this. the teams that are on top of this active resting and load management stuff are the teams that are constantly at the top of the league.
Yep.
You got. I mean, look at the track record.
Right.
You know, San Antonio was hitting. They were doing a lot of the load management stuff. Golden State.
Yep.
Any team LeBron's been involved with.
Right.
You see a lot of that active kind of load management stuff. Even though it's not taking games off, it may be taking series off or taking plays off or taking quarters off. You're starting to see that. And then they're also the ones that are in these sleep studies and they're trying this cutting edge rest techniques and stuff. So what we're saying is this. My bottom line is this, and I'm a science nerd, so this is where I'm going with this. If the premier basketball organization in the world is investing money about players getting enough rest and enough sleep between games, what does that mean for your player that you are wanting to play at a high level?
Right.
What does that mean, Coach?
Right. They gotta get some sleep. they gotta get some sleep. Sleep is important. You know, sleep and nutrition. You know, I'm not a nutritionalist, but I mean, you're not gonna be able to outwork sleep. You're not gonna be able to, you know, make some kind of concoction in your basement and mix a bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden, you might. There's a lot of great products that will help you be alert for a little bit, like maybe 30 minutes, a little bit. But your body's like gonna be like, yeah, that's cool. I still need to sleep. You know.
There is no energy drink. That's gonna replace getting a good night's sleep.
No.
You know, in the pandemic, I've had to slow down with my weight room routine, but I could always tell when I didn't get enough sleep. Even though you have your pre-workout or your energy drink before you go in, or if you do the black coffee or you do the bullet coffee where you put the butter in it.
Right.
Whatever your energy thing is, if you don't get enough sleep, you ain't going to perform it. You're not going to be able to exert yourself.
Gives you a couple minutes of a jolt, and you're right back to wanting to go back to bed.
So we're saying this. For our young players, as a parent, one of the things you can do is enforce a schedule and force them to get the sleep that they require. You mandate it in the house. When they come to the court, you will see a marked improvement, especially if you know last season. Some of y'all know. We could have done better being on our schedule.
Well, I mean, it's crazy just to see, like, it even happens to some of our kids over there too. You know, like purpose, like seeing them come to games, and it's like it's a 1 o'clock game, and there's bags under your eyes, and you're barely getting your shoes on. You know, it's like, what'd you do? Well, the new 2K came out. All right, man, but you know, it's 1 o'clock. You know, in the afternoon, and you're walking down the court, and the ball's hitting you in the head.
Is the new 2K gonna go out there and make those free throws in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line?
Man, look, here, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. This is what I love. You hit on so. This is good information, man. Like I love it, and I love this good information. Like this is real stuff that we're talking about, and the real thing is we're in a social media age, and so I'm not playing right now. You're not playing right now. We're just coaching. We're out here. We're coaching. We're training. The kids that are playing, you now have to live up to your social media thing because you might do a hashtag. I'm a Bucket Smith on your Instagram, and so everybody comes to your game to see I'm a Bucket Smith. And I'm a Bucket Smith comes to the game tired. And so he's not prepared. He's not ready to go. And he's falling on his face. Ball's hitting him in the face. And he's falling on the ground. He's getting beat on defense. And it's because he's tired.
Yeah. Because
you probably were a pretty good player, but he's tired. So now everybody on social media is making fun of you. And now you're in your feelings. And now we have that. So, kids, here's a warning. If you're going to have your social media and say that you're this and that on offense and defense, you better be prepared be prepared before that game, and sleep's like one of the big parts of it.
Because the recruiter is not going to know, nor do they care, that you stayed up all night playing the new 2K, and that's why the ball hits you in the forehead 5 times.
But is your name cool though? I got Bucket Smith. I mean, you gotta live up to it, man. I get buckets mean the recruiter's come to see you get buckets, and he's actually seeing you yawning.
Yeah.
On the court. I've actually seen that. during AAU games, I've seen kids yawning at a 2-3 o'clock game, like, and like, man, there's like 40 recruiters here, like, man, long night. Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure those recruiters that traveled here had a long night too.
Like maybe your Insta handle needs to be barbecue chicken.
So no recruiters, please.
Yeah.
Just out here taking space.
Lost opportunity. So that's what we're gonna. That's the sleep part. So hopefully you guys understand the importance of making sure that that's scheduled. The next segment, and we're going to take a quick pause for the cause. The next segment, we're going to get into preparing your kids to listen to the coach.
Yep.
These are some things that you can do, and some things you need to drive home with your player. So that's what we're going to get into. We'll get to you guys after this break. Hey guys, it's Brian from Coach Mo Athletics. I wanted to take a quick time out to kind of give you an update on a couple of programs that we have running that we're really looking to start getting people enrolled in because we think it's really a tremendous value to the people we're going to serve. First, we're going to have our tryout prep training. Now, we did this last year and we had a tremendous outcome. Coach Mo mentioned how basically every kid that we had come through for our tryout prep training made their basketball team. It's just speed and agility and some basketball drills and footwork and dribbling and stuff to get your kid ready for tryouts to really crush it. Emphasis is going to be on the speed, agility, and conditioning piece because we feel like that's a vital component, and then the skill work so that they can be ready to go out and execute in a major way. And so we have that coming up. We're going to start that on September 11th, and we're going to take it through November 7th. And that's going to be about 9 weeks of intensive training. This is where our partnership with Legends Soccer Club comes into play because that's the facility we're going to be using. Plenty of space for the kids to run around in and really get some good work in. So that's what we got coming up. And on Monday nights, I believe it's from 5 to 7, we have basically it's our open court challenge, and really it's for it's an opportunity for basketball players of all stripes to come together. We have high school, we have junior high, we have adults, we have college players, and it just allows the kids, especially the younger ones, to come out and get run with some experienced basketball players, and allows us to kind of evaluate talent and see who's an appropriate fit for our team. Other coaches will come through and see if there's talent that they want to talk to, and so it's just it's a great opportunity. And so this is our open gym invitational, and really we want people to contact us first so that we can extend the invite because there is very limited space. This service doesn't really cost anything except a call and contacting us to let us know if you want to come out. And so those are two programs that we have running. As usual, we have our Basketball Academy program, which runs year round. Right now we're in the mode of trying to get some sponsorships for teams so that we can start in October, starting our league in October. And that's what we have. And then we have our total athlete training, which is for all athletes across the board. And so this is Coach Mo's signature training, and he's had good success with a wide variety of athletes. And so these are just the programming that we have available. Go to our Facebook page. You'll see posts and things about it. You'll see some videos about the stuff that we do. But if you're interested in any of these services, get in contact with us at coachmoathletics@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at Coach Mo Athletics. Talk to you later. Back to the show. Peace. Okay, we're back. And hopefully you guys have heard by now about our prep for tryout training. During the last little break that we put a piece in there. So we're going to talk about that when we get done with this. But the next segment we want to get into is preparing your kid for coaching. And it sounds like it's not a major factor, but a couple years of experience then shows us that this is a very big factor that contributes to team success. Is your child ready to be coached? So, And there's a couple of things that we need to point out too regarding parents and athlete success in this arena. So, is your kid ready for coaching? What are some things that Coach Mo? What are some things that some general things, and then we'll jump into some more specific things. What are some general things a parent could do to prep their athlete for coaching?
Parents need to take a deep breath. First of all, take a deep breath, and you got to realize we're in this together. So there's parts of it. You have the coach, you have the player, and the parent. Take a deep breath and realize there's going to be a separation for one. And how are you going to approach that season as a parent and the kid and the coach? Also realize all coaches are different. Your kid may or may not have been coached by dad, mom, Uncle Bobby, since preschool. Now we're getting these kids that are switching over to 9th grade. I've had this conversation a lot. 9th grade. Uncle Bobby's not your coach anymore. They still not go anymore. You're going to have to realize that every coaching style may be different. So that prepping is telling a kid, like, Uncle Bobby might have been soft, nice guy. You come over his house, he cooks the best barbecue brisket in the neighborhood. He's your guy. You remember him back in the day riding a roller coaster with you. Coach Johnson from so-and-so high school may be like, hey, man, 5:30 a.m. practices. Well, I've never got it. 5:30 a.m. practices. That's what you're going to do to even stiff the team. Prepare your kid for that because all coaches are different. Different. So you're going to have to go for that. As a parent, the other preparation is how do I approach getting them to these things? How do I approach making sure that they're engaged? One thing what a parent can do to prepare is getting a calendar set. We have to do that as adults. Setting a calendar for the kid. The kid, have a conversation with the kid and the coach. What is my expectations of getting this kid? So what are practice times? What are game times? What are extra workout times? There. If I have a list of everything drawn out, me as a parent, the athlete, the coach are going to be on the same page. If we start off on the same page, we at least can go back to that initial conversation like, hey, you know what? In September, you said that you were going to change Wednesdays and it changed. Is there a reason? And it's not unprofessional because you've already got it written out. But if there's no calendar, there's no accountability for the kid, no accountability for any of us, those tend to start being future problems.
Yep. And one of the things we talked about, having uncles and parents and moms and uncles and moms and dads as coaches, uncles and aunts and moms and dads as coaches. Yeah. The preparation might be with you.
Yeah.
Where you have to actively flip the switch and say, I am shifting from a coaching development role to a parenting, guardian, spectator role.
Right.
And so that means I have to take a step back and not try to coach everything from the sidelines. Now, I'll say this. If you're aware that the kid has some holes in their game or some deficits, this is where you are in constant communication with the coaching staff to let them know, hey, this is what's going on. Give us some tips so we can improve this. Or these are the things we worked on this week. We held them accountable, held her accountable to go out and get those free throws up. These are the things you can do to help out. But the coaching from the sideline stuff, sometimes that can screw things up. Now, I'll say this. If you are truly in love with the game and your heart is in coaching, now we built a product to help out with that.
Right.
We'll drop the link in the show notes. But if your heart is with coaching and you feel like that is your passion, and you have a very difficult time disconnecting, sit down and talk with the coach and find out if they need an assistant coach.
Yep.
Now, understand, if you are signing up to be an assistant coach for a team, you are not there for your kid. You're there for the team. You coach the whole team.
Right.
You do not just coach one kid. You coach the whole team. Right. And so if you're going to take that step and step to the coach and say, hey, can I be an assistant? Understand that you're still stepping out of that parenting guardian role and stepping into a coach's role That's a different ball. That's a different ball game.
Right.
And Coach Mo can tell you, he's coached his son for years. I know that the conversations are different between Mo and Ami.
Right.
When you're talking from a coaching standpoint versus a parenting standpoint.
Right.
Those are different conversations. A switch you have to flip. But if you're that invested, go help the coach out. But if you can't stop yourself from coaching from the sidelines, you might have to sit down and take an honest look and say, am I helping? More times than not, you're not.
Right.
Or do I need to figure out something else to do during the games to stop myself?
I'm going to let everybody in on a secret. Like a little secret, okay? I'm probably make a couple people upset or uncomfortable and have to get off the chair, go get them some lemonade and think about something else. Telling your 8th grader to shoot the ball annoys them. They know how to play basketball at this point. A kid that just learned how to play basketball yesterday, and if we practice on shooting for an hour, the next day they know how to shoot the ball. They have the idea of how to shoot the ball. So think about on the sideline, you being a parent, telling them to shoot the ball every 5 seconds. Kids would come up to me in the middle of the game like, I wish my mom would go sit in the car. And these are 8th graders, 9th, 10th, 11th graders. They're like, and Brian's right, like, relax. You know, like even me as a select basketball coach, I have to back up when I see my kid play for middle school sometime. I'm like, okay, I don't like what's going on here. They got him out of position. I would do this. And I have to be reminded by like my wife and everybody like, I know, coach, just enjoy the game. And I'm like, and I'll just enjoy the game. And I like to touch on something you talked about is, remember, when you do coach, if you are going to help, like Brian said, you're there for all the kids. And that's one thing that I've kind of prided myself on is, and you can ask any of the parents, and thank you for all the Google reviews that we got this week. We've got to shout out everybody for those. Those are good. I mean, guys, read those. Those are from real people. There's no real line. And we're able, I say, I'm not going to be in this game if I'm only going to be biased to my kid. If my kid does something that's not in the flow of the offense, defense, turns the ball over, pouts, does whatever, gets a technical foul, they're going to sit down. You know, I don't care how talented, because I'm not showing the rest of the team, you know, how to do it right if I just keep him in. And so I have to coach him the same way as I do the 10th kid on the bench. You know, like that too. And so I got to do it that way. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And if you can't do that, don't volunteer. Don't ask the coach to be part of it. There's other ways you can help. You can be a film person. I know these kids and parents are like, I'll do the film. I'll be the team parent. I'll be some, you know, I'll do something just to, you know, I'll take the stats. We need that all the time at this level and high school level. I'll sit and take the stats. I'll do the time clock or something to be involved. But to be involved physically, when you're involved or you're talking like that with the rest, you're going back and forth, you're yelling at the coach, your kids hear it. Your kids hear it. And that's not really preparing them for the season. Because with the negative part of it, we can go, and this can go any different way. The negative part of it is the big switch is 8th and 9th grade. You're not with your buddies a lot of time going to high school that you had when you were young. And so you may go to high school. Me and you may go to different high schools. We've been buddies since preschool, Brian. And now I'm at a high school. I don't know anybody. And I'm the 6th guy. And I was a starter. Now I'm the 6th man. But my mom said I was the best 7th grader in the state. Remember that conversation? And now I don't know how to handle it. So how do we prepare them? It's like, be humble.
Exactly. And we touched on it. You know, it's a specific skill set that you learn to shift between the coaching and the parenting and be able to flip that switch. And we have some great coaches that we've worked with in our system that, we know Coach Greg.
Yep.
We know Coach Jen.
Yep.
They're able to flip those switches, and we may in the future, fingers crossed. Hopefully, if y'all are listening, this is us asking. We want to do an episode where we do have parents who are coaches, parents who have coached their own kids. And maybe we could sit down and have a roundtable meeting about that to discuss what are some of the things we've seen from that perspective. So that for any parents that are interested in coaching, because that's what Coach Mo started out as a parent coach first and then went and got the education to become a coach.
Right.
We're going to have that conversation about parents that want to take on that next level and take their athlete development to the next level. But even then, your kids, high school, they may be playing for somebody else.
Right.
You got to actively step back. And we talked about the parents that are yelling, shoot the ball. Now, we'll preface this. We've had, both of our daughters are still learning the game. We've had a team full of young ladies that didn't really know the game. That makes sense where you're sitting in the stand and you see your daughter dribbling the ball and they're looking at the hoop and they don't know what to do with it.
And there's no one in front of them.
Nobody in front of them. You can say, shoot the ball because they don't know.
Right.
But you're talking about in 7th grade or 8th grade who's been playing for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, they get it.
They understand the concept of shooting the ball. So now if it's a hitch in their game or they don't have the confidence, that's something you work with off the court. The coach is going to be yelling,
right,
shoot the ball.
You know, to talk on that, that's a very good thing about preparation as well. And parenting and thinking about what they're doing is, this would be time for a parent, and this ain't got to be the coaching part of it, as they progress, as kids progress, as they're preparing for season, as they're going in high school, as they're going to middle school, learn the game as it goes. The game has changed. Mm-hmm. Like, we grew up, we're kids in the 80s, we're kids in the 80s. We saw, we were able to, we're not like everybody else who didn't like, oh man, I'm gonna make a judgment. No, we saw Bird play. We saw Magic play. We saw Michael Jordan play. We saw a lot of play. That was our high school time. That was with me, right? We saw those guys play. We seen how the athletic ability from these athletes have increased athletically. And we seen the best of the best play. And now we saw Kobe. We see LeBron. We see see D Wade. We see these people, and so. One thing we've done as just coaches and like that, you look, there's more parts of the game. We understand that a point guard pretty much runs the team. He's the quarterback of the team. He's working the ball around us. And that's changed a little bit because now point guards can score. Like that. But the premise is that they kind of run the team. They set everything up. When everything gets out of hand, they calm everything down, And one thing you can do to prepare is learn that. Learn as a parent, like, why my kid posting up like that? I hear it all the time. Why is my kid running? Why is he in this position? Like, because in this offense, if you would look, that kid is probably the 4, or he's the 3. So he's not probably going to bring the ball up every single time like he did in 3rd grade when he played for you in the Y. He's now 6'5", and they're going to need him on the wing. And so learn that the game has changed a little bit and not be so harsh on, why is my kid not doing it? That's another way to prepare. Learn what's going to go on. Talk to the coach. If the coach is saying, position may change for your kid this year, he's going to be an X this, go back, talk to the kid, like, what are we doing different? Like, let's talk about that.
Exactly. And one of the things I want to throw out there is, Coach Mahal and I have compiled a list of some drills specifically for point guards, for ball handling and how they can become a better point guard. So we're putting it together. I'll put the link in the show notes, and be part of join our notifications list, and we'll send it out to you.
Right.
And so, but it's a list of some drills that Coach Mo and I have kind of cultivated, put together to help point guards develop. And so that's something that we'll include in this. Check in the show notes. It might be a couple days before I get it all set up, but it'll be there and ready for you to go.
It's gonna be good, man. It's that to get back on that, it's I've seen a lot of basketball games, and if you don't have a point guard that especially at the AAU level, when you start getting to those top platinum you got somebody can handle the ball and get everything set up, it goes wrong quick. Quick.
We talked about it, and this is the invitation. And we're going to be reaching out to people that we know. But as we move forward, if you're a coach that we know and you have a child that you've been coaching, we'd love to hear your voice sometime in the future. And so we're going to be booking that piece out moving forward.
Yeah, I got your message, Coach Jeff. I got your message, Coach Jeff. Me and Coach Jeff text each other a lot, NRE Rockets. So shout out to them and Yuri. Thanks. I got both of you guys' message, so We're gonna make that. We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen. You guys both have kids that have played, and so we're gonna get you on. That'd be a good, interesting. That'd be a very interesting show. You know.
And if you feel like you have a perspective, shoot us email. It's going to be coachmoathlethics@gmail.com, and we could sit down and figure out a way to incorporate you into the show if we feel like we'll do an interview and figure out if you're a right fit for the programming. So to wrap this all up, to get your kid ready for the season isn't just a coach thing.
No.
It starts in the home.
Yep.
Making sure your days are scheduled. Making sure your athlete is getting the amount of rest that they require. And making sure that they are ready and prepared to take instructions from the coach.
Right.
Those are the important things that a parent can do in the home to start prepping their kid for the season. And then, of course, when you get past that level, you got those things mastered. That's where you can come to us. We have our tryout prep training Fridays and Saturdays from tomorrow until November 6th or 7th, I believe.
6, yeah.
And that's conditioning, speed work, agility work. We're going to do some light ball handling, but these are going to be the kind of things that this kid's going to need to really get prepared for the season. We have a hoop here so we can do some basketball work, but this is going to be so that when your kid hits the floor, they can maximize all the stuff they've been working on. They don't get gassed,
right? And
they're a machine that's ready to go.
Right.
Anything else you want to add to that, Coach Mo?
That's big. Shout out the Gio. Gio signed up for it. Gio's been coming and doing some of the total athlete stuff, but he's like, I want some more. So shout out for him taking that step. And we'll start with him. Gio's at Millard North right now. He's trying out for the first time. And we talked about expectation. We can do that in another show, but we know we're gonna try to get you to maximize. Like Brian said, we can. We don't know what coaches are looking for. We don't know if rosters are full. We don't know those kind of things there. But you know you're going to walk out of that tryout, and that tryout like, I came in more prepared today than I was a month ago.
And it's not a guarantee, but we did have 100% success last time.
Yep.
At getting kids on rosters. And so that's a big piece for us that we feather in our cap, if you will. But this allows your athlete to hit the ground running and come in and execute at their highest level at tryouts.
Right.
And give themselves the best possible chance to make the roster. So that's a program that we're very happy with. We'll put the link in the show notes for that as well.
Right. One thing fun that I do want to shout out is I gotta give a shout out to Ami. Again, our first person to win the Lockdown Defender shirt. That's pretty big for him. Ami's super humble. Ami's quiet. People didn't know, like, unless he's playing Fortnite or 2K where, the computer's cheating, right? No one else. He got it. He's offensively gifted. He's done a great job. He works at it. He's worked with some very good people, and shout out to Coach Greg, Coach Chris, for just giving him wisdom that long, and me. But he won that. He always displays a lot of effort. He'll take on the best player from the team. If they're a 20-point scorer, he makes it a goal to be like, I don't even want to touch the ball, and plays both sides. So he's there. I identified about 3-4 other kids too this week that I'll talk to coaches about. We're on the lookout. So I know one person talked to me like, do they got to be part of Coach Mo? I'm like, well, if I feel that you're a good defender, we'll shout you out. We'll shout you out. We do want you part of something that we're doing. And I said, if you go to coachmoathletics.com, you can see a lot of stuff that we're doing. But I think that takes I think it's a pretty big honor to go inside and do this thing. But I do have my eye on a couple kids that me and Brian will discuss. But, once you got that shirt, the target's on you, so people are going to come at you, and that's...
So, and if we see, I'll throw it out here, and Coach Will, you stop me if if we play you and you're a lockdown defender, you might get a shirt.
Right. I might go to my trunk and he's like, hey, so you got us. You got us. But you got to show us. Yeah. A lot of people talk.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk. It's kind of like, you remember when we were in school and everybody talked about the Dreamcast?
Yeah.
And they talked about how they had the Dreamcast system, but you never met anybody with a Dreamcast system. It's kind of like that.
My cousin, I had a cousin always tell us about the Neo Geo that was going to be coming. You know, the Neo Geo was coming from a relative that was stationed in Japan, and the Neo Geo never showed up, man.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so you about, and this is in the '90s. So he about to send you $1,000 system, and the games cost $300 a piece.
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah. I will gladly. I want to play Samurai Showdown, so
Right.
I will wait. I want to play World Heroes. And,
right.
What's another one? That gun game that. Anyway.
Right.
You know, I'll wait. I'll be glad to play those games, man. And somehow, it's like, I never got a chance to play no Fatal Fury or none of that.
Right.
So,
Fatal Fury.
So
we just want to see it.
People talk all the time.
We just want to see it, and I love it because a lot of my high school athletes, my college guys that are going to that too is once they get offers, once they get recognized for something, here comes everyone else like. Oh, I want to get bouncy too, Coach. Yeah. Okay, I'm a lockdown defender too. I'm locked and loaded too. I can shoot too. Like, okay.
In 8th grade, if you were the one who followed through getting them Hirachis, everybody else wanted them Hirachis too.
Right.
So you showed and proved you got those Hirachis.
Right.
So anyway,
we're looking to show us.
We've thrown out all the references that we're gonna throw out, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back at you for another episode next week. Any parting words, Coach Mo?
Get ready. Get ready. The season's here. Get ready. We can help you. You get ready. Try out training. If you think that you're want to get to that, you're not late to the game. Just contact us today. CoachMo@athletic.com. If you get past the date, you can still contact us. We can adjust that schedule and get you going. Shout out to Anytime Tees. Shout out to Brandon at the Sign Doctor for the Lockdown Defender shirts. Again, shout out to the CMA All-Stars. I think I forgot some people last week, my 7th grade team. And just kind of shout out for them. And our biggest shout out is Rebecca over at Legends and Happy Feet. Happy Feet they are doing some late registrations right now. If you missed the deadline, just contact Rebecca, and we'll have the website and the link. But they're gonna move to indoors. I think some indoor stuff in November. Very, very good. So I can vouch for myself. My youngest one has played through here. And Brian, just played through here. Rebecca does a great job with communication, getting back. Very good. And then
great soccer program.
And even talking to my oldest one about getting back into it. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. But we'll take care of all your needs.
And right now we're kind of co-locating, so when you come out to see us, you're going to be sitting around with Rebecca. So come on over and have a conversation with her if you're interested in soccer. But we love the facility and can't recommend it enough. So that's what we got. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Peace.
Peace.